My fiancé got a nude lap dance from a stripper at her bachelorette party. I think she cheated on me. Hi, welcome to my channel. Today, we've got a story from r/surviving infidelity where Op thinks his fiancé cheated on him because she got a nude lap dance from a stripper at her bachelorette party. Before we start, if you have any personal stories of how you got out of a toxic relationship with your cheating wife or girlfriend that you want to share, feel free to email them to me. Let's get started. First story. Hi all, this happened last weekend. My fiancé and I have been together for 4 years, engaged for 6 months. We each went on separate bachelorettes and bachelor's parties and agreed that we wouldn't have strippers or go to strip clubs. Just as I was leaving to go to my bachelor's party with all my friends, I overheard my fiancé's best friend saying she hired a stripper. I didn't want to be a party pooper in front of my friends, so I didn't say anything to that, which I now regret. The next day at my bachelor's party, my fiancé's best friend's boyfriend shows me pictures of the male stripper and my fiancé, and one of the pictures is of his penis touching her face. I am devastated, to say the least. I was quite naive when it came to male strippers. I thought it was just some guy who kept his trunks on and just did a silly striptease, etc. When I came home, I confronted her. She said she's annoyed at her friend for arranging it, but felt pressured to act along with it. When I asked her what happened, she said he did a lap dance on her. He gave a lap dance to all her friends, and her friend had paid the stripper extra to go fully nude, so he did, and continued the lap dance. She admitted that his penis touched her all over and a few times on her face. She said nothing else happened after that. I'm now having serious doubts over the wedding because for me this constitutes cheating. I'm not sure what to do as I do love her, but I feel hurt by this and I can't help the way I feel. I assume this situation could be quite commonplace. What is my best course of action, please? Am I being too insecure about all this? Now let's look at some comments. u/lonewolf369963 wrote. Were the boundaries discussed? Yes. Did she cross the boundaries? Yes. Did she confess? No. Is that a deal breaker for you? Yes. The problem is not only that she stepped outside the established boundaries, but there are also other things to worry about. Her friend circle who influenced her. Her not take a stand to say no when things were getting too far. Her not owning up to her wrongdoing and confessing that. You don't need to rush into making a decision. Take your time to think it through. If you feel that's an unforgivable act, then do whatever you feel is best for you. u/Rio Dark Knight 21 wrote. Well, if you are having doubts about the marriage, you need to call it off for a while until you get your feelings straight. Just tell her, I felt uncomfortable about what happened last night, and because of that photo I have doubts about wanting to get married right now until we sort things out. Also, I would advise marriage counseling and perhaps talking about a prenup as well, just in case she does cheats in the future you will be protected. If she loves you and cares about you, she will agree and work with you on counseling to ease your mind and show you she is committed to the marriage and you. If not, that just shows a bit more about her colors to you and you may need to reconsider your relationship with her. I hope things work out for you. u/Kranich wrote. The problem isn't the stripper here, the problem is your fiancé's inability to say no to something she knew would hurt you. To make it worse, she also didn't come clean to you and you had to find out. Those are 2 huge red flags. If you call this cheating or a massive overstepping of boundaries doesn't matter, your fiancé created a problem in your relationship that she needs to solve. Not her friend created this problem by inviting the stripper, your fiancé created this problem by not saying no when a dude got his dick out. That of course leads to questions like, what will she do if a coworker gets flirtatious with her? What if a friend kisses her out of the blue? At which point would your fiancé say no, and up to which point will she just let it happen because she just doesn't want to say no? In the end, your fiancé had to decide to either protect your relationship or to not be a party pooper. She made her decision. Right now, the first thing that needs to happen is that your fiancé accepts what she did and where she was wrong. She should have said no, or at least have called you right after to make sure that you hear that all from her and not tried to hide that from you. After that, you need to decide to either postpone the wedding or to allow your fiancé to find a way to work this out during the marriage. That decision is yours to make. Before we take a look at another story from r/surviving infidelity where Op's wife cheated on him during her work trip out of town, take a moment to like the video to show your support to the channel. Don't forget to leave your own opinion on the story in the comments down below. Second story. Today, I have been married for 7 years. 2 days before Thanksgiving, I found out my wife had cheated on me, twice, while she was out of town in late October. All summer she was carrying on an emotional affair with the AP that turned physical on her trip. I had confronted her about the odd behavior, earlier in the summer, but she reiterated, multiple times, that she saw him as a brother and nothing more. We have a toddler, and if we didn't have a child, I don't think I would be trying to stay together. I don't want my kid to be raised in a broken home and have the drama that follows. We are trying to work through it. I discovered the affair because I was suspicious of the last few days of my wife's trip out of town, and found some deleted messages on her phone, where she was breaking off the affair, telling the other man how much she loved me and she needs to give her marriage all she has. The message also indicated she did not regret or feel bad about the sex. I confronted her and she denied it until I showed her I found the deleted message on her phone. She has been very repentant since she was caught. She cries randomly, begging for me to not leave her, without provocation. I am broken down every day since finding out about the affair. I am feeling what many of you have felt after going through this. I am mourning, I am distrustful, and I feel not good enough myself. The thing breaking me mentally right now is the guy she cheated with was well endowed and I am average on a good day. I never thought sex was bad, but now I just can't get the thoughts out of my head of her with him, and now when I even think of being intimate with her again I just worry she won't even feel me now. She made it a point to tell me she didn't orgasm with him the 2 times she did it. I'm lost. I'm broken. I don't know what to do. Any advice would be much appreciated. Now let's look at some comments. You/Facers70 wrote. Cheater's Handbook, he's just a friend / I see him as a brother, remorseful but says things like leaving her over this isn't provocation, reason, enough because she'll stop, and my all-time favorite line of horse shit, but I didn't orgasm. Leave. Do not stay for the kid, and I'll tell you why. You will never trust this woman again, you'll become bitter at best and indifferent towards her at worst. That kid will see that and grow to accept it as normal. It will be non-stop tension / distress / dislike / uncaring for you and her that your kid will see / feel 24/7. It will affect your kid. And from what you wrote, and didn't write, in your post, I'll put money on Vegas odds that she will not stop. You/Usipchski wrote. Your biggest problem right now is that you're dealing with trauma. Your world has been turned upside down, the woman you thought you knew isn't who you're married to. You were in love with an illusion. What should you do? First, don't commit to either D or R right now. You need time to accept the new reality. Second, it's going to take you time to get over the mind movies, and fixating on size comparison is a huge mind movie for you. Third, see an attorney, see what your options are, what divorce would look like. This is not committing to D, it's doing some recon work to understand your options. Fourth, she needs to give you a detailed timeline of the affair. This one will be hard for you. If you're going to R, you need to know exactly what you're forgiving, but that might trigger more mind movies which would make it harder for you to move on. Fifth, separate for a short period, at the very least to other beds. She might try hysterical bonding, and that will only muddle your mind. Don't let her do that. You need distance to work through the betrayal, and her presence is only going to slow that process for you, only to other rooms. She needs to show signs of true remorse for hurting you, not regret being caught. Some suggest that she needs to write down a list of what she'll do to regain your trust, and you can compare that with what you think she needs to do, helpful to write down as well. She needs to understand that if you decide you can try to R, note, I said try, then she has to do the heavy lifting. Ask her if she's willing to tell her friends, family, and coworkers that she cheated. If the AP was a coworker, it should be reported to HR and she must find another job. She has to help you heal from this, not the other way around. Blame shifting, gaslighting, trickle truth, those are all signs she's not remorseful. If she won't give you a timeline, if she won't answer all your questions with absolute truth, if you have any signs of trickle truth or gaslighting, if she isn't more concerned about healing you than avoiding embarrassment, those are signs that are most likely won't work. If she's not remorseful, then file. You have to be prepared to destroy your marriage to try to save it. She has to know you're serious, and this is hugely important, you cannot bluff about this. If you file, you must be prepared to go through with it. Filing isn't instantly done, there is a waiting period where you can put the process on hold or halt it entirely. What you do by the filing is make sure she understands how badly she blew things up and get her thinking about consequences. Good luck, you're going to need lots of it. You/Cells LA wrote. When a partner cheats, the protocol is permanent separation. You need to follow that. You don't need to do anything else. Nothing else is your job anymore. Both of you don't have equal responsibility for keeping this relationship anymore. If your wife is worth being married to despite being a cheater, a very very unlikely scenario, then she will act in a way that makes up for the cheating plus more. To put it into perspective, imagine the whole world knowing what you know about her. What would make 99 out of 100 reasonable people with integrity think she was a good mother and wife and someone being worth being married to? I'm not saying it's impossible. I would know exactly what to do to make up for it, and I'd get it done through blood, sweat and tears. If your life was a movie, what would she have to do for the audience to not only forgive but like her? What would it take for the audience to not think you're an idiot and she's a monster? This is the only way you can look at the situation objectively and not be a victim of your love for them. What those movie characters would have to do is what you both need to do. Emphasis on do, not feel, because feelings are subjective, and even if they weren't, you're feeling much worse than her right now. So your part is letting go. Her part is working her ass off to right every wrong she's committed, with grace and humility, until you feel no pain in your heart anymore. That's the forgiveness that she needs to earn. If she doesn't, you still need to follow the protocol and leave. Because that's the right thing to do in your position. Your child will be fine. She doesn't need a cheater for a mother to look up to. Imagine the damage normalizing this behavior would do to the character of your child. You can raise her alone, and you might even find a woman who loves her as her own and is 10 times the mother your wife ever was to her. Teach your daughter that this isn't okay. It's not okay to do this to someone else, and it's not okay to put up with this. Be an example and be the kind of father she'll be proud to have when she grows up. Before we take a look at another story from our /surviving infidelity where Op's wife divorced him but Op discovered that she has been hooking up with her boss, take a moment to like the video to show your support to the channel. Don't forget to leave your own opinion on the story in the comments down below. Third story. My wife and I are going through the divorce process, living separately for the last 3 months. Married for 16 years, 2 kids, together for 20 years. She dropped the D-bomb on me. At the same time, a year ago, I felt blindsided. She's been pretty vicious, like she's lost her mind and seems to be having a midlife crisis. Anyhow, I just recently discovered she's been having sex with her boss, and a lot of dots connected from the past. I was prepared for her to be with other people, but this one stings. She's known this guy for years. He got her a bartending job at a very high-end place where he's the head manager. We've all hung out, plenty of handshakes. He's met my kids. Lives down the street from us. He's this not very attractive, quiet/awkward, overly friendly guy. Years ago I told her, you know he's trying to bang you, right? She laughed it off. Oh my God, he's just a friend, you're being insecure. I wrote it off. I never felt threatened. I thought we had a strong marriage and let it go. She would tell me he'll hire young girls, hook up with them, and that he was kind of a player. Well, flash forward, now he's banging my soon-to-be ex-wife. Looking back, pre-D-bomb, she started going out to bars with him and other coworkers. They spent tons of time together at work. They started riding bikes together. He'd bring her food all the time. I thought it was inappropriate and would occasionally bring it up. Same response from her, we're just friends. In my opinion, he's a predator that uses his position of power within the workplace to hook up with girls, who he hired. He's been working on my wife for years and finally accomplished his goal. What I'm uncertain of is this just a recent rebound, I'd care much less? Or has this been going on for over a year and is the reason behind her suddenly wanting a divorce? Did she cheat on me with him? Regardless, I think I'd like to expose him. Bad idea? I considered writing reviews about his predator set up on Yelp/Google reviews for the restaurant they work at. Any other suggestions? Now let's look at some comments. U/Pereira 1955 wrote. Hi Op, I'm very sorry for what you're passing through, but you must realize if you expose him, that you could take problems later in time. However, I believe you don't be worried about your wife, since things will not end well for her. He is a player and he was interested in her since he doesn't have her. Now, that he has, he will lose interest in her. Let her go, divorce her and focus on your life and your children, and most importantly, be sure do not ever take her back. U/DrJuve222 wrote. Look, I know you're hurting and you're probably feeling that you got kinda played by the two of them, but to be honest with you I would be against doing so. You're separated for 3 months already and you know that you exposing the affair to their boss is not going to have any sort of effect on them since you know they are all friends. Why bother doing that then? It will only make you look like a vindictive ex-husband. The same thing goes for writing a bad review unless it's going to be about criticizing the food and their service, it's not going to have any effect. Even with that I doubt it will make any difference, so why bother? I read a comment here a lot on this subreddit and I kind of came to terms with this myself after 2 years and finally agree with it. The best kind of revenge you can have on a cheating ex is to continue your life without them and becoming better and happier. It will make them more crazy and jealous and doubt their choices when they see that their ex is thriving without them. In my opinion, don't think about your cheating ex and what she's doing anymore and start focusing on yourself. U/him_talking wrote. Yeah, I wouldn't do that. You could write this stuff, then he could come back and say your ex-wife is the one who came onto him, she agrees, and he could sue you, and probably win depending on his lawyer. Plus Google/Yelp would probably delete the messages anyway as it would violate some rule of theirs. Also, if your wife is vicious now, this action may put her viciousness into a whole new category, especially since you have kids. I would get the divorce out of the way and just make sure that everyone associated with you and your family, and her family, knows the real story. And then start to heal. You/SveenDog72 wrote. Sorry to hear all this, and it sucks, I can guarantee that from personal experience, unfortunately. However, and yes, this is cliché, but your best revenge is to move forward and find happiness without her. Live your best life and don't dwell on the details or on exposing them. Sooner or later the facade of their relationship will come crashing down on its own, most likely. Time to focus on you and your kids, and eventually it won't be on your mind all the time as I'm sure it is now. Just my 2 cents. What do you think about all of this? Do you think the op from the first story should stay with the fiancé, or is his fiancé's behavior unforgivable? Also, do you think the op from the second story should try reconciliation, or should he just cut his losses and move on? Lastly, do you have any advice for the op from the third story? Let us know in the comments down below. If you like the video, subscribe to the channel to see more videos like this. Hit the notification bell to make sure you never miss an upload.